I think we are live. So let's see if this actually works. Let's switch to your desktop.
With video or no?
I see stuff. Switch to my desktop. I see stuff. All right. Janky setup's working.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, so I'm gonna let's push this over here. All right, you will split this like that.
God.
Okay. And how do can I not hide this side?
Just zoom it in a little bit more, it'll probably. Oh, I meant zoom it in, but I'm sorry. It'll probably hide the menu.
That works. Okay. Cool. All right. So, Jarrett, what are we building? I guess I should say I'm here with my buddy and neighbor Jarrett today, and we are gonna take a stab. Jarrett is a student at the Turing School, so he's at a coding school right now in their front end track, learning to be a front end developer. He's doing pretty good, and so today we are going to build some cool stuff with the Zomato API, which is a API for restaurants and other cool information. So I've never used this before. We've only generated an API key and have not yet made a request. So let's see how this works. So Jarrett has spun up a repo. So we got a repo at github.com/JarrettKong/restaurant-searcher. So we got a nice little initial repo, and I have that pulled down. So let's fire that up in like a little server. And we have a cool little dashboard that works. Nice. All right. And so why don't you explain to me what your thought is for what you want to do here?
Okay. My initial thought was that we would have just a simple search and zip code, nothing too fancy. Like you said, I'm a student, so I didn't want to go like too deep into this. But below this line here, we're gonna just have like a dummy card, and I was hoping to return, I don't know, we could limit it to say 10 or something, results, and have them all just append underneath each other, maybe like in a grid style. I haven't really thought about it too hard, but I was hoping to, like, if you go to Zomato itself, and if you search for a restaurant, let's just say like in Denver, and I was trying to imitate this this card here, and then we could just append it vertically underneath each other.
Cool.
This obviously isn't done, but that was the idea.
All right, so I guess the first thing we need to do is we need to actually look at the API, right? So we got to see what we can actually get out of the API. And so they got some endpoints here, and it looks like we can get some establishments. This is probably what we want, right? Get list of restaurants or restaurant types in a city. The city location input can be provided using coordinates. Okay. So this probably isn't what we want. What about restaurant search? Okay, this looks more like it. So we can use coordinates. Okay, so this is annoying. So we actually have to get coordinates, and we can't give it a zip code.
Okay. Well, it said city IDs was one of the options, and it said 31. Well, I'm not sure what that was for.
So we can get a
like at the location one up above that you were looking at before. Was it this one?
Get location.
City ID here, right?
Okay.
So
that's annoying.
Yeah.
So
we could force it to just our city, though.
Well, what we can do is we can use zip code to lat longe. So probably Google Maps API will give us something. It's free map tools. Or this is just a giant...
just a giant GitHub list.
Yeah.
Alright.
Let's
Control
see.
F, here we go.
So it has my New York zip code. Okay.
You don't know, those are Springs.
Yeah, so it's got them in here, right? So it's got enough. Okay, so we'll use this list. So thank you to Eric Hurst for putting this wonderful list together. It might be a little out of date because it's from 2013, but it's better than us having to do some other shit. So all right, I'm going to grab this. And we will put this in. So let's move. So we'll call this zip data.text, right? And so we can probably turn this into a CSV. Oh, it is already a CSV.
Cool.
So that's awesome. Okay, so zip data.csv. Okay, so that's easy. So we can take zip code, right? And so we get lat long from that. And let's close this out for now. And so when we have the zip code, can you search by city name too?
Probably.
Entity ID. To search Italian restaurants in Manhattan, New York City. But where you get, what do you get? You have to make a request to get the entity ID?
Well, if you go to the Zomato website, it looks like there's no search field. They just have a drop-down list of different cities.
Oh. So get cities. Right. So if we...
Oh, query by city name.
Yeah, okay. All right, that might work. So let me see. What's the base endpoint? Credentials. Did they send you a base endpoint to call in the email with your your API key?
Let me check.
Maybe it's just like...
No, they did not. Just the key.
Okay. So... Alright, well, I guess we just have to guess at it. So let's say... user key query. And this is / cities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's say curl this / API / cities. And then we'll say, is it API key or user key? So user -key equals, get out of here. Ooh. My shell is trying to help me out, but I don't want it to. So Zomato API key, and then it was Q, right? Yeah, query city by name. And Q equals, let's say Denver.
Question mark equals Denver.
Okay, so what do we got? We got back a 302.
I think you did and question mark equals Denver, not and Q.
Oh, good catch. Still no, still. So.
Oops. Let's see.
Zomato API key.
Hold on. Okay.
Okay, let's see.
It says once you've acquired the API key.
You know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to find a library that exists already because I'm sure someone built one.
Yeah. Okay, great.
So. Oh, okay, so you need an API version, which I'm very glad they have that documented where we can find it.
Yeah, seriously. Okay.
So, all right, so we need an API version.
Yeah, /API twice now.
Good catch. There we go.
Okay.
Okay, invalid API key. Oh, okay, that's great. So, forbidden invalid API key. So, user key. Oh, it's a header. Okay, we have to send it as a header.
I don't know what that means.
So in an HTTP request, there are different. I have a slide actually that shows this. Speaker deck. Come on. Speaker. There we go. So, okay. So this is what an HTTP request kind of looks like, right? So this is getting a random GIF from the Giphy API,
Okay.
right? So this is saying Giphy, right? Version 1, GIFs, random API key. Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to HTTP requests, headers are extra bits of information that are kind of sent along before the request.
Okay.
Right, so they'll identify something. See here, this user agent. So this identifies user agent is a header that identifies the client making the request. So in our case, we are using curl here, which is a command line tool to make HTTP requests.
Mm-hmm.
And then somewhere in here, we should have the user agent. Yeah, see user agent.
Okay.
Cool. So we need to pass the user key as a header. And what is that key name? Oh, I guess we just pass the user key. All right. So, so instead of putting it in the query, oh, sorry, yeah, I was showing you different parts, right? So these are what headers look like.
Okay.
Okay. And they're just sent before the request, right? So you'll send a bunch of headers and you'll send the body of your request if you have one. And so there's different types of HTTP requests. You'll see like a GET request. That's generally what your browser makes when it goes to, getgoogle.com.
Mm-hmm.
So it's your browser asking the Google web server, hey, can I please get that web page from you? Can I get your index.html or whatever the web page is?
Okay.
Right? And so that's what this bit is. So we can say, this is a GET request. This passes that path in here, right? And then a query string. So we can break that URL down into 3 different parts.
Yeah.
Right. So the first little thing here, this HTTP:// that's what we call the protocol. So you can have HTTP, HTTPS, which is HTTP secure. That's how we use like TLS and SSL.
Okay.
And how we did UDP and RTMP when we were setting up OBS.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different type of protocol, right? So this is what a connection string looks like. We call this a URI. It's like a generic, we call it an RFC. It's kind of like a spec in a protocol,
Okay.
right? So this is the host name bit. Is this api.giphy.com. And then this is the request path. Right, so we're hitting that v1 gifs random.
Mm-hmm.
And then this last bit here is the query arg, right? So this is how we can send data along in a web request, right? So if you look at the URL here, you can see how that breaks down, right? You got the host name, you got the request path, and then the query arg, we're on slide number 10, right? So that's why, you can copy and paste this URL to someone. And if I refresh the page, it knows exactly which one to show you.
Right.
So those are the 3 big parts of a URL.
Okay.
Cool. So we have to send that user key in a header. So instead of passing it like this, we're going to delete this. So we'll come here and we'll say -h is how we pass the header in curl.
Okay.
And so we'll say user key, and then I'm going to plug in that API key from the environment variable. All right, and this should work. So fingers crossed. There we go.
Okay.
All right, so I can pipe this into a little tool called JQ, which will format that JSON nicely for us. All right, and so that's really all it is to make an API request. Right, we had to find out the URL, we had to find out the authentication, and the docs. And these docs aren't the best, right? Like there should be a very clear like getting started section that tells us all of these little bits that we need, which is kind of sad that it's not in here. I still don't see anything where it would be. So glad we found it out.
By just pawning off someone else's work.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the great thing. It's like someone's already, so we'll probably wind up using this library, right? I just wanted to show you what it looked like to make the request by, default ourselves in here. So, okay. All right, so how do you want to go about this then? So we've looked at our options, right? So we can't use a zip code. We can search by a city.
Well, should we just default it to our city? For the time being? I don't know, can you do that?
Yeah, we can plug in, so you're saying like hard code or entity ID or something?
Yeah, just for now.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. So we'll only search in Denver for right now. Mm-hmm. And let's just make sure we understand this, right? So we don't need a city's endpoint. So we can get locations by passing a, couldn't we give it an entity ID?
Yeah, right there, entity ID.
That's a response.
Oh.
Yeah, so when you're looking at docs, you'll see it's generally broken down by request and a response. So like the parameters here are what you have to send, and this is what they'll send you back. So get restaurant search. Okay, here we go. This is what we want. We want the search endpoint. And the search endpoint will let us search with an entity ID. All right, so let's try to make this.
Okay.
And so if we come back to terminal, all right, so we'll keep part of what we have here. I'm going to delete the JQ part. And so we want to search the restaurant's endpoint, right? That's what this one is? No, this is
the search endpoint.
This is the search. I wonder if this is /restaurant/search. Location, common. No, maybe not.
No.
Okay. So we'll search, and we have to give it entity ID. Entity ID equals, what did we get out of Denver? Oop. Come on. Come back to me.
God, there it was.
All right, so entity ID.
305.
Is it 305? State ID. Country ID.
Country flag URL. That's funny.
Okay, so I think I'm going to give it ID is 305, and then we'll give it entity type of city, and we'll see if that works.
Should we try with just 305 first, see what happens?
Okay, so entity ID is 305. Type to JQ. All right, so what do we got? Are any of these in Denver? No.
Create Ocean Road.
What is Belbray?
I don't know.
Okay, so I think we need to pass entity type. So we'll say entity type equals city.
It's in Australia.
Oh, that's neat. And entity type equals city.
Studio City is here.
Capitol Hill, Denver. Okay.
Cool.
All right, so cool. So it was nice. They had the drop down here, so we knew what to send,
okay.
right?
Great.
Yeah, that's when I looked at that. I was like, okay. So that's why I was hoping the ID was actually okay. So we'll hard code those for now, just to make it easier. And then let's see, what else do we need? We can give it a query. Oh, cuisines. List of cuisine IDs. Oh man, so their shit is really like, this is not free form at all. Like, they have these things tagged with IDs and like, so
you can't just search like Chinese or something.
Well, maybe we can with this Q. So we'll pass Q and Q. Oh, okay. So I didn't break this down for you, right? So that the query parm starts with a Q, right? And they're separated by ampersands. Right. So
I've seen that.
Okay. So let's say Q equals ramen. Uncle. All right, cool.
It did work.
So that works. So we can hard code those for now. And what do we get out of here that we can use?
So
an address, a name. Oh, I'm glad it gives us the API key on every single request.
Great.
That's brilliant.
Oh, good.
Is that the same? Yeah, that's definitely the same. Well,
there you go. Okay, so we have name. I would say name, location, price range, user rating. Where is neighborhood? There it is.
Cool.
Verbose, I guess.
All right, so it's got a bunch of stuff, right? So
address.
What in there So how do you want to? You said you wanted to model it after their own cards, right?
Yeah.
So did you see everything you needed in here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily want like this part here. This is bar, casual dining. Neighborhood is good, so Cherry Creek, Lodo. Full address, maybe. Cost for 2, not necessarily, but just price range generically. Hour is not important. Hours, and then probably call view menu, and then reservation.
All right, do you want to start speccing this out?
Sure.
All right. I'm going to switch to you. Let's hope this works. I'm going to switch to Jarrett's desktop. And
is it working? Okay.
It looks like it's working. And there might be a little delay, so the audio might be off, but let's see what happens.
Okay, so right now what we're looking at is this part right here is just a generic card, but it currently spans the whole thing. So if we put a border, well, let's take a look at it. So just to visually see how this is laid out, we'll do restaurant results, which is the name of the section. And then we'll give it a border, a capital R there, border of 1 pixel solid red, which is my go-to. And then you can see that currently spans the whole way, but I don't want the result to, hold on a sec, let's put another container around this. So I don't want the result here to span the whole thing. So if we change this to results card, we can say width here 60%, just like the top and bottom. Oops. Margin auto.
Bet you're way better at CSS than I am.
But I don't want it brushing up against the top and bottom, so we'll do 20 pixels on the top and bottom, and then auto. And that should be good. Okay, and then give it a border of blue. Okay.
Cool.
So that looks fine enough for right now. And then I'm gonna go to, here it is. Okay. So they have their image set up at the top, but I'm going to ignore that for now. So let's do the result header, and we'll say they've got the name of the restaurant, then the neighborhood underneath it. Seems like a decent enough setup. So let's put a new thing here that's another H3, and then we'll do neighborhood, just like that.
Nice.
And then for this, I want to do probably flex. Actually, I don't think we need that. I think instead we can just make the children, all the first children, have, I don't know, margin 0. Okay.
Okay. Squished it down a little bit, right?
Yeah, so I don't know why it's squishing the, oh, it's not squishing the photo. Okay. I don't want this.
Did they give us a URL in the response for a photo?
Let's see.
Let me switch this. Let me see. Photos. Yes.
Okay, they did.
They give us an array of photos. So let's look at Uncle's photo. What was URL? Oh, thumbnail. Perfect. That's what we want, right?
Definitely that one.
So let me copy that. Perfect, right?
Okay.
Was that the, yeah, that's probably the thumbnail. Let's make the same search here, right? So we'll search for ramen. Yeah, that's the same.
Okay, cool.
Yep, perfect. It's a little different.
Yeah, it's just cropped.
Yeah, it's cropped a bit, but that's fine. Cool. All right, I'm gonna switch back to you.
Okay, well, I'll deal with the photo in a second, but let's give. Oops. We'll say give the result header just a small margin of 10 pixels on the top and bottom. And then we'll give the whole card, actually, I don't want to do that. I want to give the whole card instead padding 10 pixels on the top and bottom, and then maybe we just do 10 pixels all around for now. And then we'll say all the things in the result. Be this, I don't believe is going to work. Oh, it did work. Okay. And then instead of flat 0, you can say 0 on the top, and we can say margin bottom 0, 0, 10 pixels 0. Okay.
What's your Twitter name?
I think it's _ Jarrett Kong. 2 T's. Yeah.
Nice.
Assuming I use Twitter, which I don't.
That's okay.
Okay. And then let's give the header. Okay, so these all need their own thing, and then you can do both of these as result address or location. We'll do that. So for now, we'll say result title can be a little bigger, 25 pixels maybe. Nope.
right.
Oh, I didn't save this. Oh, I did in the template. No, it's saved. Oh, result.title. Oops. Okay.
Nice.
It's a little big. Okay. And then the location can be...
Someone asked, what Mac are you on?
I'm using a MacBook Pro 13-inch.
Nice.
And then I don't have like the touch bar version or anything like that, but it's the new one.
One day we'll get you on Linux. Don't worry.
I know. I tried to do it. I just don't have I don't have a spare hard drive that I can devote to Linux. Okay. So if we just want to rip theirs off entirely, we'll give the title red.
Here, I'll cut real quick. I'll show everyone that joined. This is what Jarrett is mocking out right now. So you got a nice little card. Yeah, close enough, right? Like it is your inspiration.
Right, exactly.
Right, so this is what's going to be displayed for our restaurant search information. Also Linux.
Also Linux, yeah. So there's that location, and then I can give this one. Oops, not header. Result. Neighborhood. Or actually, instead of doing a whole new class, we can use pseudo selectors. So we can do result location. Oops. Location. Or we can just do first child. And then bold. Okay, so this isn't working because I don't have. Yeah. In my Google Fonts query, I don't have the font weights. Can I hack this?
Can you pass font weights?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
You spelled weight wrong.
Yeah. 300, 500. I don't remember if it goes at the end or not. Nope.
Someone's asking what the backend is. Yes, it will be Node. We haven't started the backend yet, so we'll probably do an Express app or something real quick. Or we can get fancy and do it in Go.
We could do it in Go.
But we'll stick to JavaScript.
400, 500, 700. It's a little different. Just get rid of this. Okay. Interesting.
Oh, an Elixir fan. Okay. I've dabbled with Elixir very little. The Phoenix framework, right? That's the go-to there. That was a lot of fun. I did a lot of Ruby before, so syntax is a little familiar.
I don't know Elixir at all. PogChamp though. Okay, so we'll do result body, and then height. We'll just give it 400 pixels right now. Oh, that's too tall. We'll do 200. Okay, and then result footer. Do display flex because we want all the buttons to be the same size. That's a colon, and then justify items center. Hold on a sec.
Okay. It's coming together. I like it.
And then all the buttons can be flex 1. Okay. And have a height of, how big is that button? 40 pixels, I think.
You're way better at CSS than I will ever be.
Practicing.
You've just been doing it for a couple of weeks now.
I know. So, there's some weird, I know this resolution is terrible, but, oh. I see. Okay, so I put padding on the whole card, but instead of doing that, we'll just put it here. just for the header. Okay. And then, that kind of looked better the other way. Keep it there. And then we'll do another pseudo selector just for the second button. And then we'll give it a margin of 10 pixels on the left and right. Cool. And then we'll just give this border top of light gray. And then we'll copy that to the header. I want to do it like this?
Yeah, looks good.
Sure, we'll do it like this. We'll copy that to the header, except it'll be bottom. And then it can have a padding bottom of 10 pixels. Oops. And then for the footer, it can have a padding top instead.
Oh, is that you, Matt? Mr. Matt Auerbach? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Looks like I put the border. Oh, I see. So I put both these here instead. It should just be on result header itself instead of all the children.
I'm at a company called DigitalOcean now, doing a bunch of DevRel things. So it's good to know that you're at Twitch, actually. We should definitely sync up this week or something.
Oh, that's cool, yeah. Well,
I have followers from when I used to work at Twilio. We did a lot of streaming there. So it's this is actually the first time I've streamed in like 4 years. So, and no, actually, I moved to Denver recently. So love it out here. Lots of mountains.
Yeah, he's a big climber. Maybe we'll just put the photo up here. But instead of putting it on the left like they have it, so I don't copy it exactly, instead put it on the right. But in order to do that, I think I'm gonna have to make this put this in its own container also.
Well, let's just get it to a point where we can start plugging things in.
Yeah.
And then we can start on the back end a bit and wire the two together.
We can plug things in right now, but I'll just put this back where it was in the body. Okay.
Cool.
Oh, there's actually a price here.
Came together nice, actually. Can you plug in? Here, I'm gonna send you that URL that we got, and I'll send you that real quick so you can plug that in as a sample. I think it'll look a lot better.
For the photo.
Yeah. Do you want the thumbnail or do you want the full res?
Just the thumbnail. I think is fine. Yeah.
So let me send that to you. I'll text it to you.
Let me show my phone number.
And also, you can't see my screen. So.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, where did that come from? Oh, now we have video.
Oh, it didn't switch them.
Oh, I think I copy pasted on the wrong window.
Hi
everyone. Bye everyone.
Bye. Okay. Yeah, let's hide mine real quick so when I pull up my text, I won't show it anymore. Okay, great.
All right, let's see.
So.
No, it did not send well, did it?
It's like it's just gonna send half of this.
Okay, it worked.
All right. So.
All right, I'm gonna switch back to you.
We'll just put in the source. Oh my god. Toggle word wrap. Okay. Okay, I didn't like that.
Did you miss part of the URL?
Maybe. No, because this was working when we opened it just now.
Paste it in the browser again. See if
oh, copy image address. We'll do that instead.
Okay.
No, it's the same.
All right. Well, just pretend it's working.
Yeah. It's not happy with that.
Developing with a food API makes you constantly hungry. That's a fair statement. What other food APIs have you built anything with? I think I've played with Foursquare before when it was actually popular. And I did the Yelp API, but I think it's pretty restricted, so you can't really do much right now.
Something weird's happening here, though. It's no longer... it's no longer live updating correctly.
Did you forget a closing quote or a tag or?
No, see, it's weird because when I'm saving here, you can see it refreshing, but it's not updating. Okay, let me just close that.
Yeah.
Try it again. Nope.
He's pissed off about the URL. Let me get it out for now or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
Image source. Is that red? What's line 59? Is that an HTML error somewhere? Oh, you have to close that tag or...
No, these are just...
diffs?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have to close an image tag with itself at the end or no?
No.
Okay.
It's self-closing. Any insight on this?
Nope.
Nope.
But...
Okay.
Commit it up and I'll pull it down. We'll see.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to switch back to my computer. Was your last CSS bracket closed? Someone asked. Nope.
Oh.
Nope. Good catch.
Look at you.
You're a beast. Thank you, Dusk.
It's still on the HTML's still not in the right spot though.
Okay. All right. Well, commit that little fix.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. I'm gonna switch back to me, and let's see. We got a little git tug. All right. So let's see. Is it rendering correctly? It's still not showing the photo. Oh wait, let's see. What's that? Oh, favicon. Source equals unknown. Oh, okay, because we didn't have one in there. Oh, okay, that worked. Oh, yeah, I don't think... okay, so I think there was something wrong with the URL, because if you see here, it ended in CR when you pasted it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like it's supposed to be CROP and then a bunch of data, so like the crop. So
gotcha.
That's probably the text didn't go through right. All right, so I'll fix that real quick, and then we'll hook up some backend.
Okay.
Does that go in the result body here, or the...
just in the source.
This one here?
Yeah.
Okay. Does it go into template too or no?
Yeah, I'll fix that later though, because the template's all fucked now. So.
All right, so I will see.
On yours was the price moved to the top? I don't know.
I'll check 1 second. So we don't need that zip data anymore, right? Because we'll just hard code it to work with Denver.
Yeah.
All right, so
no, the price is still not in the right area.
Do you want to?
Well, it's like in my file. It's in the. Well, nope, no, it's not. I was moving it in the template. That's why it wasn't working.
Oh. All right, so I'll wait for you to push it.
No. You can. I'll pull it down and then fix it.
Okay, so let's see. HTML. So, okay, so add photo source temp source. All right. All right. So let's start on the back end.
Okay.
So I'm going to just initialize a new project real quick with NPM. And so have you worked with NPM before that much, or?
Not too much.
Okay. So NPM does not actually stand for anything.
It doesn't stand for Node Package.
It does not stand for Node Package Manager.
Acronym.
But yes, exactly. So it's basically how we install dependencies with Node. And so I initialized a new project, and that gave me a package JSON file, which is where I can store all of our dependencies.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I can come in here and I can tell it to install and add the save flag, and anything I install will be saved to the dependencies.
Okay.
So that when you pull it down, you can run npm install, and it'll automatically pull in all the things you need.
Do you have to do -- save for everything you install, or is it like a global flag?
Yeah, you have to. If you want to commit it to the package JSON, you want to throw the save on there.
Okay.
Now it'll warn you if you have dependencies that don't match,
Okay.
so that you have installed but don't match your JSON, and then there's also save dev. So you can add development things like Webpack or Babel or your CSS processor or something, right? Because that's not like dependent on working in production usually. So you can have that or if you have like NodeMon or something, right? Or your live reloader, right? So that's what you'd put in the dev dependencies. But we'll just use Express. We'll do a little body parser. And then I think that's all we need to get started. Oh, we should probably look at what library we want to use for Zomato. So there's this one from 2016. And there's this one from 2017. All right, so I'm probably going to use this one. This is Zomato.js. This is where we got the URL and the other docs.
Yeah.
Because for some reason they didn't have it documented. So
or it's just hidden really well.
it was hidden very well. So if there's any Zomato devs out there, gotta fix that a little bit. All right, so this is gonna grab and install. Cool. And then I'm gonna just create a very simple, right? So you haven't worked with Express before, right? Just at one
Just
other
like
time.
vaguely, yeah.
So I'll run through it real quick, right? So we're gonna to import a library in Node, we have to require it. It's a little different than the browser where you can just throw a script tag on there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to pull in the Express library, save it in a variable. We're going to need body parser, which thing with Express is it used to be a very big library that had a bunch of different pieces built into it. And then JavaScript community decided to
split it up.
Yeah, we like very small packages like leftpad. And so it got pulled out. So now what body parser basically does is remember I showed you how to make HTTP requests? Mm-hmm. So that's a GET request, right? So that's usually asking for a resource. If you want to pass extra data in or parameters, you use the query args, which we looked at before.
Right.
There's another major type of request called a post request. And so if you notice with the query args, I think I closed the slide, but I think let's see, let me background this. So if we look at the request, right? So we had the query args. It was passed in the URL, right? So we passed the city type, the entity type, the query, all in the URL. Mm-hmm. So the nice thing there is that's like a URL that we can copy and paste, we can send around, and it'll give everyone the same result, right? Because this is like a publicly queryable endpoint.
Okay.
Let's say you want to log into Zomato or Google, for example, right? You don't want your username and password appearing in the URL. Right. You don't want to be able to copy and paste that to someone.
That's not great.
Exactly. So the way that we do logins and send, usually when we're sending data that's beyond like a simple, call this like a key value pair, like the key and then the value.
Yeah.
Right. So when we're sending data beyond something very simple like that in the URL, we use a post request.
Okay.
And that kind of sends the data in what we call a body. So you see a post body that comes through. And so what body parser does is it lets us receive post requests into our server and chop up that data into JavaScript objects. That's the long and short. I forgot even what I was explaining.
Yeah.
So that's what body parser will do. So we'll just require that real quick. And then we need the Zomato. Let's look at the docs.
Requires Zomato.js.
Yeah, so let's do that. Let's paste it in.
You want it in caps? Like, no, that's fine, I guess.
And then, yeah, so a convention with JavaScript is that when something is a constructor, and when it's a constructor is when you have to throw the new in there, you usually capitalize the first letter. That's how you signify that this is
like an object,
exactly,
or a class or something.
Exactly. That's how you signify this is a constructor that you will need to throw a new before it. Okay. So you'll see that in a lot of browser APIs and other stuff too. If it's a capital, it's usually a constructor.
Okay.
And so we need to grab the OS library. Actually, no, we don't, because this is not Go. We can just we can use process.env.zomato API key. And actually, I see there's a bunch of chat. Let me read through chat real quick.
Keys.
Yes, I do have lots of clicky keys. I'm so sorry. I love my cherry blues. I'm glad you appreciate the explanations. So let's get rid of those terrible semicolons, which I know you like to use.
Yeah, I know.
But so
in the style guide,
there is before Prettier and before a lot of that stuff was out there, there's something called Standard.js, which is it's basically just a very simple set of rules that aren't for customizing. It's just like a very out-of-the-box default set of rules that you could run. And it worked with ESLint or ESHint, something under the hood, to do your formatting and your linting. But it was one single command that you could run. So you could install Standard.js, and then you could just run standard on your project, and it would fix everything. So it was very opinionated, but it worked out of the box. So this is where my styling comes from, is no semicolons.
And spaces after keywords and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I took a lot from this, but this was like 6 years ago is when I was following this heavily. Okay. All right, so we got a Zomato. So I stored that API key in what we call an environment variable. And so this is exactly what it is. It's like a variable that's saved in my environment, right? So it's saved in my shell, it's saved in my process. Yeah. And so we usually do this to avoid passing secrets around and making them visible. And so when, if you're going to pull this down, you can just run, export Zomato API key equals and your command line, and then paste in the API key, and then it will be available under an environment variable, right? So that's a common way that we do this. Okay. So we have, we're pulling the processes environment as Zomato API key. So that's just how we can pass it in. Cool. All right, so we got some of that. I'm going to create a new app real quick with Express, right? And so Express is lowercase, so we don't need to pass the new, right? So it's convention. And node convention is a little different than browser convention, but at the end of the day, it's JavaScript, and we try to share as much, right? And so then we have to tell our app to use body parser.url encoded. I'm doing all that. I haven't done this for a while. Let's see if I remember it. URL encoded, there we go. And then we have to tell it extended false, I think, because we don't want to parse out fancy body types. So it's all in the docs, just how you plug it in. And then we want to use our static library. So we'll do app. And so these are what we call middleware. And middleware it's a way that you can, at the end of the day, this is a function that gets called on the request that comes in. Okay. And it's a way that you can kind of like filter out or apply some function to every single request coming in without having to manually do it. So this kind of like attaches middleware to our app to be used. Okay. So we can say use, and then Express has something called static in here. So express.static, and it takes in, I think I've shown you this before. So we're going to pull in the path library, and this will just let us join things nicely. So path.join, and so we'll say dir name, which is a magic variable for the current directory.
Right, I remember that.
and then we'll create a folder called static. And so this will, dir name is something like, home, Eddie Zane, code stuff, right?
Yeah.
And, whatever project we're in, it's the current directory. And then static is, what it's going to join. And the reason we use path.join here is because in Windows, they use backslashes instead of forward slashes for paths.
Oh, see, it just like automatically does that.
Exactly. Yeah. So this will use the proper OS file separator or path separator, I think they call it. And it's just kind of nicer to use this because then Windows people can use it too.
Okay.
So. All right, so let's create that real quick. So we'll make a folder called static. I'm going to move your index.html, your index.css. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Into static. Okay. And so what the static thing we just thrown in here is Express will look for a file that matches in the static folder and serve that automatically for us.
Right.
So we can start up our server. So we'll tell it to listen on port 3000. And we can give it a callback function to call once it's started up. So I'll just say server started. All right, so I'm going to fire that up real quick. So server started. And then if we hit port 3000, that gets served.
Yep.
And remember, index.html is a magic name, right?
Yeah.
A web server will always look for an index file. And that's why this magically serves your web page out of the box.
Okay.
Cool?
Yep.
All right, sweet. So what else we got? We need well, let's just do a real quick test of the Zomato API, right? Because we pulled this library in and we haven't used it yet.
Right.
So we don't want categories. We want search, collections, cuisines, establishments, geocode. Oh, that takes, okay. Locations. Probably could have just Control F for search. Search.
There it is.
All right.
Turned promise. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm just going to do. And actually, I'm going to get a little fancy because why the hell not, right? So I'm going to install Express again.
Uh-oh.
But I want to use a new version of Express that has Promise support built in.
Okay.
Because it's not released yet, but it's this alpha version. So I think we need. I think I need to tell it this.
Version 1.
Yeah, it worked. Alpha
yeah.
Alpha 7, right?
Okay.
Okay, cool. So hopefully that gets released soon. But so now we can use promises inside of our request handlers, our route handlers.
As opposed to doing what?
That's right. You haven't used Express before.
Yeah.
So this is what a normal. This is what a normal route handler would look like, right?
Yeah.
And so we take our app. And so this is a very popular pattern in just about every language. This is kind of like a micro web framework. It's not as heavy as something like Ruby on Rails or the Phoenix framework we were talking about in Elixir. And like Dusk just mentioned, Sinatra. That's the micro framework for Ruby that's really popular.
Okay.
And I think that's what your backend folks are starting with Sinatra,
exactly.
right? Yeah. So this is a very light framework, and it's and Flask is the Python one. That's another big popular one. So this pattern here of like you declare the method, right? So I said a GET request. So this is when a GET request is made to the root URL, right? So that base URL.
Okay.
It calls this callback function that takes in a request and a response object. And so then we can do something simple like response.send hello world, right? Cool?
Yeah.
And so if I turn up the server again, we curl localhost 3000, we get back your web page. So we actually need to disable static real quick.
Okay.
I need to restart the server.
Oh.
Right, so we get back hello world, right? So that's how it's matching that route. So when a GET request is made to the root, it's going to send that back. The problem was, when this is on there, in request, everything is order of declaration is how it's executed. So because the static was declared first, it overrides the route. So we'd have to be more specific than the slash. So we could have made this like get/hello world or something, or hello. That's just how, basically Express stores all these in like a big array, and when a request comes in, it just calls the request down every single one in the array.
Okay.
So it works really well. It's awesome. And so let's see. Funny that you need a response object to send a response back. Yeah, there are some in there. So it's a response stream that you can write into, and there's a bunch of other methods on here. I don't think my auto completion is going to work. Yeah, but you can see it's a send stream, and it's just got a bunch of other methods on there, like status and headers, and and because this is a callback function, so we can't just return something. So like you could in Sinatra, unfortunately. JavaScript's async and does a bunch of funny stuff there. So, all right, so we don't need this route. We need actually we do. I'm gonna still comment this out. I wanna keep forgetting what I keep going on a tangent, right? So I want to take the Zomato and I want to test it real quick. So I want to search, and we'll plug in our search query.
Why
right?
is it dot search?
Because it's a method on the Zomato instance,
okay,
right?
Okay.
Yeah, so you dot search, and we have to give it an object for the search. So let me pull our search in here real quick. So we hit entity. I'm just going to copy this. So we got, that did not paste well at all.
Nope. Pasted in 2 lines. Yeah.
All right, that's paste mode for you in Vim. All right, so we need entity ID, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what the ID was?
Don't.
Oh, because it copied this. That was the problem. Let me see. Can I just... Come on, curl.
There you get it. Yeah. Mm.
Nope.
Oh God, it's so far away.
I know. It's a pain in the butt. Tmux has a different back buffer. I think it was 351. That sounds right. Let's just say 351.
Well, that was the city code, but I think we determined that was different than...
No, that was right. And we said entity type, right? Entity type will be city, which needs to be a string. And then let's do a query for ramen, because hell yeah, ramen. And so this returns a promise, which will give us data. And then I'm going to console.log. Actually, we'll just send it. We'll do response.json data, because I'm hoping it's JSON back.
It said application/JSON on the format.
Yeah. I mean, the library?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the library. It should give us a JSON object back. And then we'll catch an error because we're a good developer. And we'll just do a response, console.error, the error, and we'll response status 500 send error yo. Okay, that's fine for now. So let's see what that looks like. So we'll hit this in the browser. Ooh. Okay.
Okay.
We're getting JSON back, but that's not what I was expecting. So
I think the entity ID is wrong. Was it 301?
we can always make this curl request again if we have to. So bummer, I lost it. 301. Oh, actually, would it be in the URL here? Let's see. Can we get lucky?
Negative.
Let's see. Let's look at the network request. Search.
305.
Is it 305? Oh, perfect. 305. That was close. Off by 10 error. Start that back up.
Okay.
And then do we see Uncle? Yes, I saw Uncle.
Uncle.
Some great ramen in Denver. All right, so we got our results. That's all we cared about. Cool.
Yeah.
So all right, so the library works. So we can put this back. We can get rid of our test. What your form is going to do is I guess we should get fancy, right, in the front end.
Sure.
Have you used Fetch before?
Only forget.
Okay, so Fetch is a browser API that will let you make HTTP requests in the browser to the server. So it's kind of how we reach for using... in the past, we used to use what we call XHR, was an XML HTTP request.
Okay.
It's just a kind of like an old deprecated library. So Fetch is promise-based, and it's real easy to make web requests in the browser. So let's see. Are we going to write some tests? No, we are probably not going to write some tests. I don't know if you're helping a friend learn. Okay, so we'll see if we get time for tests. I don't think we will, but yeah, my buddy Jarrett here is he's a student at a place called Turing.io. It's a pretty cool code school here in Denver. So he's learning to be a
back-end engineer.
He's learning to be a front-end engineer. So he's doing great so far. He's only been at this for a few weeks now. Okay, where do we need to go? So we'll use Fetch, right? So you're gonna post to search for me, right? So your web page is going to make a post request to the server, and it's going to send me some data, the query, right? Yeah, we'll use the query. So we need to. So the body of the request is going to live under the request.body and then I think .q, because that's what we'll call your variable that you're going to send me.
Body.
Body is what body parser will do.
Oh, okay.
So body parser will slurp up all the data that gets sent and attach it to request.body here for us as an object, right? That's why we can pull the queue. So you're going to send me a post request with a queue property or attribute in there.
Okay.
It'll make more sense when we get to the front end side of stuff. So you're going to send me a queue, and then, so we can do the fancy stuff now. So I can make this an async function. And then we can say const data equals z.search, right? And we'll do the same thing. So we'll say entity ID is 305, entity type is city, and then we'll pass Q, right? And remember the magic of the property expansion. So because our variable name and the property name we need are the same, we can just put one and it will magically expand it. It's nice. And so that will be a promise, right? So we can await for that to resolve like I showed you yesterday.
Okay.
And we generally we should do this inside of so you haven't really used try-catch blocks before, have you?
Mm-mm.
So it's usually a construct you reach for in a synchronous programming language. JavaScript is obviously async. But the nice thing here is that
since we're awaiting it, it works.
Exactly.
Okay.
We can use it. This is what the power that async await gives us, is like we can work with a more synchronous construct. It's nice. All right, so let's delete that. Cool. So we're going to grab our query. We're going to make that search request. And then we're going to format this data to send back somehow. And then we'll be done with the front end. So
the back end.
Yeah, the back end. Good catch. So all right, so what do you need to display for your page in the front end?
Oh God, do you have like a better view of this? You have like a JSON view or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
JSON prettify. All right, so what do we got?
Okay, so
we need the restaurants key, which is an array.
Yeah.
Right, so that's the first thing we need to grab.
Right.
Have you worked with JSON much?
Yeah.
Okay.
So name, we need, I don't think we need the URL. We'll do location. I guess we could just return the whole location object.
Okay.
And then figure it out.
You need the thumbnail, right, for the image?
Yeah, thumbnail. I'm just looking. Price range I want. Let's see. Rating I want. Although I don't want... We'll do aggregate rating.
Okay.
Because I don't want stars or anything weird like that. Menu. Maybe menu.
All right, so for now we'll just send the address, the name,
Yeah.
and the location.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get something working in the meantime. So we just switch back to you. So let's say all right, so we got data. And then we need to create another variable that will say, we'll just call this like payload that we're going to send to the server, right?
Okay.
And so let's pull out name, right? Will be data. Okay, well, so we need restaurants out of here, right? So we need to loop through the restaurants and we need to build in a list up, right?
Yeah.
So let's say data const restaurants, did I spell that right?
Yeah.
Equals data dot restaurants, right? That was the name of the key.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a top level key that's an array.
Array of, yeah.
Yep.
I get it.
So cool. And then let's see. And then so that's an array so we can map over it. And that will give us a single restaurant that we want to work with. And we want to return a new object, right? So this is like munging up the data, right? So we're ETLing it, we're transforming and all that stuff, right? So
and it just cuts out all the like other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is us like formatting and taking everything we care about. R response ID. Oh. I guess that's for tracing, so they can trace requests through their backend logs and stuff probably.
Okay.
And so, all right, we need the name. So we'll say name will be r.name. What else?
r.location.
You want the whole location, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Location. r.location. There's a fancier way to do this with some.
That's okay. There's thumbnail. Oh, okay, here we go. We'll do first price range because it comes first.
Okay, price range. You want to call price range like that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, actually, I'm gonna.
We just call it price. I'm gonna call it price.
I'll do price range. R dot price range.
Okay.
Right, because in JavaScript we don't want.
And stuff, right?
And then what else?
Accepted currency. That's funny. Let's do thumb.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thumb will be r dot thumb.
How about thumbnail? One word, all lowercase.
Okay. What else?
I wanted
ratings.
Yeah.
So you
I just
want
want the aggregate rating though.
So we'll say rating is r dot.
Those ratings. Aggregate underscore rating. Oh, it's user rating actually instead of ratings.
All right. So. Is that it?
Let's scroll down a little bit more. Featured image, it has delivery. No, I don't care about that.
Hey, Dust points out Zomato has a fake reviews key. Did you see fake?
Yeah.
Oh, has fake reviews.
I wonder how they test that.
I bet they're not supposed to send that back.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I can't imagine Yelp wanting to send fake reviews if it knows they're fake, right?
That's true.
That's funny. I wonder if that's a bug on their side. Like, that should be, private data.
Exactly. Not be like a public thing.
That's a good catch, dude. Is that it?
Let's keep going. Here we go. There it is again. Has fake reviews.
I think that's it.
Yep.
I'm going to give you the URL because I think you should link out to it.
Okay.
So we'll just say, where was that?
At the top, I guess. Yeah.
URL will be r.url. Okay. That looks good to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this will send back restaurants. So we don't even need payload. We can just say response.json restaurants, right? Because it'll expand out because it'll be top level key with an array.
If it's already an object, though, why do you have to put it in brackets?
Because it's generally better to have a top level key than just send back an array.
Okay.
It's kind of like a better design pattern. Because then the data key you're looking for is there. It works a lot better for parsing because in something like Go, if we want to right, so in Go you have a struct that's very rigid, right? So if you want to parse out the JSON into the struct, it's like it's easier to do it this way if you have like the proper keys in place.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. So we got that. I don't need you. I think this will work. So if I start the server back up, right? And so let's see, we're going to curl to localhost 3000/search -d. This could have even been a GET request, but we'll say query equals ramen, right?
Okay.
And then we'll pipe that to JQ. And there's our,
Noodles and Company.
Right?
Almost. Yeah.
Almost ramen.
Almost ramen.
Right, so there's our cleaned up JSON we sent back, right, with the top level key of restaurants.
Okay.
So when you get the data back, you'll be like data.restaurants, and it'll be the list. So cool. All right. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I don't think there's much else we need to change for now. JSON, yep, we're making the request. Oh, and so the other nice thing is that if this is empty, if restaurants is empty, it will always have the top level key versus being an empty array, right? So it's a little nicer there.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to commit this. And we need a little git ignore. Yeah. And so do you know what a git ignore is?
Oh, that's pretty self-explanatory, right?
So, yeah. It tells Git what files to ignore. And before, if you look, I said...
You had node modules.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to commit your node modules. So now when we... it's excluding them. So, and this is just a little function that uses this like ignore API. It's nice.
Okay.
Works well. All right, so git add dot. All right, so just Say add backend.
Cool.
All right. All right, so before we switch to you, I want you to copy your API key to your clipboard.
Okay, hold on. I'll just pull it from my email. Okay.
I bet they tell the fake review is fake from, they have like machine learning or something, they run over it.
How
or
recent is the account or something?
probably got a bunch of, weird stuff in the, yeah.
Was the account made in the last like 30 seconds?
Right.
Right. Okay, so I copied it.
Cool. So now run export space, all caps, Zomato underscore, you spelled yeah, underscore API key equals, no space.
Oh god.
Yeah, shell will not like the space. Equals, paste, enter. Cool, so clear that out, Control L. Cool. And then do a git pull. All right, so I'm gonna switch to your display.
Hold on.
Oh, too late. This is actually working. I think there's a little tearing in the video I see every now and then, but we're basically Jarrett is streaming via UDP, and I'm pulling that into a VLC player that's running, and the VLC player is pulled into OBS. So it's kind of a janky setup, but it's working. And yeah, we couldn't get the video to show up in OBS for some reason, so we'll have to play with that in the future. But pretty stoked with this setup. I think it's working pretty well.
Is it not static?
What's wrong?
Nope.
Oh, so remember you have to start the server.
Oh, that's right. I can't use live server anymore.
Right.
Okay.
You can if you CD into the static folder.
I just tried that.
So your editor needs to be opened into the static folder instead of.
I got it.
Right, okay. Yeah, that works too. Cool.
Okay.
And then,
that's.
But can you start up this server? Make sure it works in your terminal. Just do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll do. That.
You need to npm install.
Oh, that's right.
And I think you ran node on your static index instead of your
server. You did it on the main one.
Yeah.
Okay.
From the root directory. All right, so I'm going to switch back to you.
Okay. So what were you listening on? 3,000?
Yep. Cool. All right, that works.
Okay.
So now you need to create a index.js inside static.
Which it is.
Did you make that in static?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. There we go.
All right. So I guess the first thing we should do is you should. Let's just make the get request now. We'll make the fetch request. Okay. So let's say grab your form, right?
How
do you want this to? You probably can get rid of the zip code for now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna change it to.
Okay.
I'll just deal with it later. I'm just gonna change it to city name and then.
Cool.
Search. So. Well, I can just do that now.
No, do it later. Because it's hard coded for Denver, so.
Oh, that's true. Okay. So I need. Okay. We'll call it name input. Oh, I don't need that. Name input. Killing me.
Let's grab the whole form, right?
Will that work though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we can override the on submit.
Okay. I don't think this has a. My bad. I don't think this has a
Okay.
a name. So yeah. this. So, okay, that worked. And then, so you said, so grabbing the whole form allows us to do what?
So we can add it, so do search form.
Yeah.
And add event listener. And then listen for the submit event.
This is killing me.
So I'll just put an E in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So the first thing you want to do is what?
Prevent default.
Yep, because you don't want the form to submit. Cool. And so now we want to grab the data from the search field, right?
So would this be like, I'm not sure how to access nested HTML elements.
Right. So you can, so because it's a form, it'll expose the inputs for you. So you can do e.target, which will be the form, dot inputs, dot, and then the name of the input.
Okay.
So what's the name of the, is this making sense or?
Yeah, but you said name of the input, but the input, so do you mean like the name attribute?
Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta add those.
Okay.
Because currently, what am I looking at? Oh, okay. So name, restaurant name.
Or just make that Q, right? Because it's a query.
This?
Yeah, because that's just a, no, it is name.
Okay.
And then I would make the name Q.
Okay.
Right, because it's a query. So this is, you haven't actually worked with submitting forms yet, but you actually have to provide names for the inputs. Because that's how your backend or wherever you're submitting the form knows what the data is, right? Okay. And it'll give you like Q equals whatever was in the text box.
Okay. So we don't want to do, is Q like, I feel like that's not descriptive enough though.
Okay, you can make it whatever you want.
I just wanted to make it.
Well, it's not a restaurant name though, right? Because you can search for ramen.
That's true. Restaurant query.
That's fine.
That should change that also. No, I don't think I changed the CSS. Okay, we'll do that later. So, and then, oh, that's the label though. I need in the input, right?
Yep.
So, what happened? Okay.
Cool.
And then this one, well, we're not really using the city one right now, but that's okay.
Cool.
So then you say here inputs, and then is it just typed in like this?
It'll be restaurant, camel case name.
Okay.
So let's just console.log.
Yeah, I was gonna exactly. Come on. Okay. So that didn't work.
You got to submit the form.
Yeah.
You got to put in something to submit the form.
Okay. Nope. Can I read property restaurant name of undefined?
Maybe it's input and not inputs. No, that's not it. The problem is higher above. So make it input instead of inputs. I know it exposes it somewhere. Let's see. Just do it in the terminal. Just grab your form. It should be there. Yeah, search form.
Let's take a look.
It's like form.inputs. Let's see, form inputs.
Oh, there's types.
Let's see, form. Here we go. Form. This is not JavaScript. This is HTML. So MDN form.
Well, I could select it with like.
You can. I'm pretty sure it exposes it.
Okay.
Forms. Oh, try elements. Form.elements. Yeah, do it here. Form.elements dot search or restaurant search.
Restaurant name.
Yeah, restaurant name.
Oh.
Capital N.
I think you're right. No, it's restaurant name.
Let's see if it's in there. Hit enter.
Okay.
Just do print out form.elements. Let's see what it gives us.
So, one input. This resolution's killing me. Okay. So, looks like we have. Interesting.
Do go back to hit up. Put dot inputs there. Does it give it to you?
No.
Try input.
Any insight into a chat?
Let's see. What if you just do no? It won't be value. There is a way to get this. You can just do a query selector for now on the target. So target.query and then the ID of the input. But it definitely exposes it via JavaScript. I just don't remember what the thing is called. Forms. We can look it up later. So just do the query selector for now.
Okay. Okay.
Cool.
Okay. So
now you need to do
value.
Cool. All right, so
we'll save that.
Yeah.
Or Q.
All right. And so what do you need to do checking wise?
Oh, it broke. No, it did break. Well, I guess there's no restrictions you need to put on it in terms of like, if you want, you could put on, make sure that it's only.
So I would check if it's empty, right? Because when you were submitting the form and nothing in there, so how would you check if it's empty? And then we'll just return because we don't want to do anything. We want to early return when possible.
Yeah. And then, so return in this case, if I watch it in the if I watch it in the console. Okay. Else.
No, you don't need an else, right? That's the.
I know. This is for me though.
Oh, okay. Well, it'll be empty.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. And then let's make that. We should probably clear out the form, right?
Yeah, but I gotta do that first. And well, if it's empty, it's already cleared, right? And then so here.
Yeah, you can do that at the end, right? So that won't work. Why won't that work?
I don't know.
So that's not a reference. That's going to pass by value. So you're going to assign the value into query. So you actually need to go back down there.
Okay. Do I have to do e.target again?
Yep.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. All right. And so now we need to do a fetch request to the server.
Okay.
Cool. So let's, you want to use async await?
Well, I was thinking about that earlier today. It's like, do we want to do async await because that's the best way to do it, or should we do it the hard way and then like refactor it to be the easy way? Is there any point to learning it the long way?
There's probably never a time where you'll make an XHR request yourself again.
Yeah, well, I meant like,
So the only benefit, your options is either to just use a promise or to use async await.
Okay.
So you're not going to, fetch doesn't work, fetch works with promises. So XHR it's not even worth learning, I would say, because that's what callbacks were done. And
yeah. Well, let's just do it async await then.
Okay. So you need your event handler function, let's mark that as async. So
I gotta do that here.
Yep.
Async.
Cool. And so now we're going to say fetch.
Is it just called fetch?
Yep. And so that's the open a parenthesis.
It's not required, or is it required in the backend file though?
You don't. It's a browser API.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about it.
It's not a node thing or an npm thing. Okay.
So you can do fetch, open a single quote, slash.
Is it slash post?
Yep. No, slash search is what we named it.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
Okay.
And then close. Go over one. Open an object.
Like comma.
Yep.
Okay.
And then this will be. I think you put method post here.
Yeah. Let me think. Is it under MDN, do you think?
What are you looking for?
Fetch?
Yeah. What are you looking for?
I'm trying to see the structure for this.
That's all you need there.
Okay. This is right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then let's so that will make a fetch request, right? So I'll make a post request. Oh, and you need one more thing. You need form.
And now this is in here, I assume.
Yeah. And then you can give this.
Do I not pass in the search form object? Oh no, because it's already inside of it.
Right. Actually, we can make this even cleaner.
Okay.
So you can say, go back into your terminal over there. Sorry, the console for the browser. It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah.
So you got to comment something
It's
now,
this.
probably. That's still not going to work.
No, it was
Okay.
It was an unfinished object. Yeah.
So grab your search form. Okay. And then do dot form data. Does it give you form data? No. What about data? No?
No.
Okay, so do a new form. So do const f d equals new form data, capital, all capital.
I
camel
get
case.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Oh, so is
Space.
new like a new object? Okay.
Yeah. But it needs to be capital because it's a constructor. So you're creating a new form data.
I see. Okay.
And then open a parenthesis. Right, it's a constructor. Pass in the form, so search form. So hopefully this works. Hit enter. Hit FD. Okay. What do we got in there?
Negative.
So FD dot. Okay. Refresh the page because there was nothing in there to begin with. So put just put something in there. Okay.
And then submit.
No, don't submit.
Okay.
Hit up. That one. Okay. FD dot get.
Let's just check it first.
I don't think it'll do dot get. And then give it the name, or do get all. What's that give us? Parenthesis. It's a function.
Yeah.
Oh, what? It said something in there. Hit up. Back.
I think it was just like the
Get all. Required only one present. So it wants something in there. Backspace out of that. Just say get and then give it the input name. So what is it? Restaurant name. In quotes though.
Oh, this time we do it like in.
Yep.
Like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
So is that? I know that was real quick, but so that's basically an object that you can work with, and so that's what we actually have to pass to the fetch is a form data.
So,
see if you can replicate that in there.
Shit. It disappeared. Fuck.
So let's start right below the prevent default, actually.
So, instead of doing this, do you want to do...
Cool. What can you use instead of search form? Yeah.
So, well, I guess we don't need to save the rest of it. So
no, but we do need the check still, right? So how can we check?
Oh yeah. It's no longer okay.
And there's a million ways to do this, by the way, right?
Right.
So this is just how I would do it.
So there's no dot value, that's just it, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then I was gonna do or city is empty, but
that's fine.
I guess okay.
I'm cool with that. And
turn, and then
do you want does not equal there, or what do you want?
Oh yeah, sorry. And then fetch.
So fetch is going to return a promise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so
well, I was thinking we have to send both. Is it like do you do like an object?
Nope. Form data will have everything in it.
Okay.
Yep, that's awesome. And so now we need to, this is part of Fetch API, we're going to get back a response. So let's say const response or res.
Assign it to the fetch.
Yep.
Okay.
And then you want to await that because it's a promise, right? So it's gonna we want to await for it to resolve.
Okay.
Okay. And so come down another line and say const JSON lowercase equals await response dot JSON, and then that's a function, so you're going to execute that. And so what that will do is it will parse out that response into JSON. It's kind of just like a step you have to do.
So why do it this way instead of JSON.parse res? Would that work also?
Yeah, but that is a synchronous approach.
Okay.
This is just the way that you're supposed to do it with the
async.
Yeah,
okay.
The API. So this will parse out the JSON, give you an object, and so let's console.log the JSON just to make sure that we're getting what we're supposed to.
So.
And your server's running, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uncle.
But
Denver.
So you're gonna get an error. I wonder if this is where it gets a little confusing.
Okay.
So if you look at your URL there, do you see the port number that you're listening on?
5500.
Okay, what port was our server running on?
3000.
Right.
So can I manually change this?
No.
Okay.
Because you only can bind one port to one process.
Okay, so
yeah, you should use that.
Oh wait, it's actually trying this time. Is this gonna work lowercase? Probably.
Look at that. Whoa!
What is this though?
That's what we sent back. So expand those down.
Yeah, but these are not.
What did you search for?
Uncle.
Search for ramen.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Nope.
Oh, okay, I remember. Right, because on the back end we are looking for .q, right?
Oh.
So we need to. So just go into open the server code.
The server code, is that this
yep.
one?
Probably one above it. Down. That
This one. I'm just gonna do this full screen. Change back and forth. I can do this. Oh god. Okay.
So let's instead of .body.q, we need to change it to the name coming from the server. So what is the input name?
Restaurant name?
Yeah.
I assume it's camel case.
I don't remember. We'll find out.
Nope. Same thing.
Okay. Do it. Oh, you didn't restart the server.
Oh.
And let's go back to the code real quick. Let's just log out the request.body there too in case we need to come back. Okay.
Should we comment this out?
Yeah, that's fine.
It's gonna throw errors for the rest of it though.
Oh, what's that?
I was say should we comment out the const queue part, but no, it's fine.
Oh, look at the terminal. What did it print out?
Empty.
We might need to give it a header. Let's see. Fetch post form data. Okay, so go back into. So do me a favor and search. Just go back to Google. Open Google. Search what I searched. Fetch post form data. And then that first one. And then you're gonna grab, go down. You're gonna grab that.
Just the headers part.
Yeah, you can grab headers. That's fine.
Okay.
Cool. So go back to the browser.
Oh, sorry.
And then where we had that. Sorry, go back to the other tab. Headers, method,
body. Do we need
transform data? Let me see. Oh, okay. Actually, go back to fetch in the code.
Okay.
And so instead of form, that's data. Sorry, that's body.
This part?
No. The key name. It's body.
Oh, but it's still FD.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, that should work. That's all we have to change. So we got to restart this. Oh, no, actually, no, you don't, because it's a static site.
Okay.
So you do have to refresh though.
Uncle Denver. Submit.
All right.
Still getting.
Let's see the server. Did it log anything out?
Empty again.
Okay, let's copy that header field. Let's put that in there.
Still got it. So. Okay. Still this though?
Yep.
Okay.
Save that. Let's see if that works. Do a refresh. Yeah. Okay, let me see. What do we got? Body. Oh, it's my fault. So we don't actually want URL encoded. We want form data. So we want use body parser dot form. I think it's form data. So it's not form data. parser dot. Let me pull up the docs for that real quick. We want, what do we want? Not raw, not text, not URL encoded. No, we want URL encoded. Oh God, let's see. Yeah, form URL encoded, that's fine. Body, let me see. So let me spell request.body.
City can't be empty.
Oh. And whoa.
Well, that's
content form data. Why wasn't this working? Static app.use. Okay, I'm just going to change this around real quick in here. So we'll just use, we'll do what we had before. So we'll say restaurant name, if query equals empty string, return, okay. And then let's say set the value. We'll say body Q is query. Okay. And then Q. Okay, let's see if that does it. This does not want to go, huh? So instead of query, we will say Q equals query. Let's see if that works for now.
You put the Q equals inside the quotes though?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's try again. Ramen. That's better. Okay.
13.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. I'll have to figure out why that wasn't working before. But it's working now.
Okay.
So, all right. I'll let you take back over.
Okay. So. And then
Cool.
This would take results as an array, and then here I would do, and then JSON, right?
Yep. I would do JSON.restaurants.
Okay.
Just so you're giving it. You can do either, but then you'd have to pull it out either way. So.
Yeah, I do it every time. Restaurants. Yes. Okay. So the way I have this set up is with templates. So instead of using the one that I've already got, I'm just going to replace it with all this one. And then here, oh, my indenting is all messed up. I don't have that installed. Beautify. Okay. Oh God, go away. Okay. So now I'm able to take the template data. I'll leave that one up here just for now. Take the template data and then pull that into my JavaScript. So let's do it this way. Or is this the right one? Nope. Okay. So I'm going to make my template. We'll call it that, and then that pulls from the document. Should I do this every time? I should probably just query it at the top. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a better idea.
So up here, query selector, and I only have one template, so I can use this. And then I'll do result is going to be the template.content. We're going to clone that to the variable.
Cool.
And then from here, we'll do we can query select this just as if we were doing a regular one. So query selector is going to be title, and that's going to be assigned to results dot how is this set up again? Let's look. Well, I'll pull it up over here. So this is set up as results restaurants is an object that's it's like an array of objects, right?
Right. So you're taking in an array there.
Okay. So then I need to do it a little differently. So nope. I know that for each doesn't work with async. It doesn't matter right here, does it?
It doesn't matter here.
Okay.
What I would do would be to map over that.
Yeah.
And return into, or why don't you tell me what you're thinking first, actually?
So what I was thinking is restaurants, or in this case like results, is an array of objects, and each object has a name. So I was going to say for each result, then inside this we would do like this would get moved in here, and then we would have we would populate the data in the missing, like the placeholder data in the card. So like for this one would be .name, and then we would do it with like location and all that stuff, and then at the end we would do append. We'd have to append the template data to it, but we need to query this. So real quick, if we do query selector on, what did I call it? Result area. It's hiding restaurant results. So then we can do here result area dot append child result.
Cool. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. So in theory, we should get a bunch of cards that have titles now, but nothing else, which is fine. Nope. Error, uncaught in promise, invalid left-hand side assignment.
What line was it?
25. That doesn't make sense. Oh, we're looking at this one. I think we're looking at this one.
No, that's your index code. Yep, that one. So line 25, what's it saying?
It said invalid left-hand side in assignment. That doesn't make any sense. This is all DOM stuff. This has nothing to do with
new result. Results for each, right?
Yeah.
And then you're creating a clone.
Am I like missing a brackets? Oh yeah. Oh no.
And then you're querying on the clone.
Yeah, which is fine.
All right, so let's console log out.
Hold on.
Oh, that might be it.
100% it. Fuck. Cannot set property inner text of null.
So let's console.log the new result above that.
I also figured that out. It's .result title. Denver. Okay. Oh, there we go.
There you go. Look at that.
Okay. Took a second, but
okay. Cool.
Okay. So now we can get rid of this because I don't need any more. All right. So if I do uncle. Okay.
Nice.
Okay, it's working.
Cool.
Good.
Nice job.
So similarly, we can do restaurant location. Although I should really change this. Neighborhood. So result neighborhood, and then let's take a look at where's the API. Can we pull it up again? I'm trying to remember how the location object is formatted.
Let's see. That would be in there.
Okay, there you go. So result dot location dot locality. Okay. Uh-oh.
What happened?
So it cannot set inner text of undefined. Query selector result dis. Oh. Put a T in there. Uncle. Cool. Highlands, CBD,
Nice.
Greenwich. The fuck?
Greenwood?
Oh, Greenwood, yeah. The example was Greenwich, and it was on my mind.
We are not in New York.
I know. It's like, where's that? It's like, I lived here for almost a year. I should know that. Okay. So, just paste like 4 of these. So, result address. Oh, God. Address. And then, same thing here. Address is going to be location dot address, and then we have underneath that is going to be price, just for right now. Price, same thing, except instead of location now we can just do, I believe we could just call it price, right? Yep. And then we have just a thumbnail. So we can call this thumbnail. It's going to be the location. It's actually just going to be thumb.
We called it thumbnail.
Did we? Oh, that's right. You're right. Thumbnail. And then we can actually, inner text, this is going to be source.
Cool.
And then we can just get rid of this. Uh-oh. Okay. Doesn't like the price, so I think, do we call it something else?
What did we call it? Let's see.
Oh yeah, go back real quick.
Alright, it's right. No, this isn't it. It's
Oh wait, we called it. It's in. I can look right here.
Yeah.
Price range.
Is that what we called it?
Change that. I'm gonna change it to price.
Okay. You have to restart the server.
Do I? Okay. Oh, the full server, like full restart. That didn't work. There we go.
We had something called nodemon. We'll restart the file when you save. We start the server when you save it, just like the other stuff. But
2. Okay, so
that's like number of $signs, right?
Yeah. So instead of that, we'll do. I have to put a span in there. No, I don't want to deal with that right now, but that's fine. So.
Well, you can just do. Why don't you just like create a string and then output a $sign for each one.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and then okay, so.
But that's a chore for later.
Cool. So, all right, what if you try to search again without refreshing? What's going to happen?
Yeah. Okay. So, the first thing we'll have to do is. Oh, wrong file. Okay. So then now we have to do. Okay. Uncle Denver. Okay. Osaka. Nice. These are all Japanese restaurants, but
cool. So
Lincoln Park.
So experience-wise, I would move that form the clear area to right when the form is submitted,
as opposed to when it loads.
So after you've submitted it, let's see what that looks like.
So how is it?
So just move that.
Yeah. I'm just. Where did I do it? Where do we do it? Right here. So like very top. Oh boy. Just like here. Actually, I don't want to clear the city name. So.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was saying I would clear the inner HTML at that part too.
Oh.
So you're not left with the old results in case the request takes a little longer. It'll kind of like clear them out.
Here.
Let's just see what that looks like.
Ish, yeah. Uh-oh. Didn't like that.
I wonder if your template got blown away because it was in the inner HTML. Could that be why?
Yep. This is why I always try to put it somewhere that's not rendered.
Yeah.
Actually, I want it above the JavaScript. Cool. Good call. Oops. Uncle. Nope.
Something else is going on, huh?
So if I...
Oh, you know what?
Oh, it's not even clearing anymore.
Oh, that's true. Is there an error in the server? What's the server say? No.
Uh-oh.
Just go undo.
Yeah.
What do we change? Oh, you can put that back, right?
Think?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That was working.
I don't know what to tell you about that one. All right.
I wonder if clearing the HTML was an asynchronous operation, and it was.
So this is what broke it, right?
Yeah.
Now it's working. I don't know.
Shrug life.
I don't know.
Okay.
Classic.
We go back, watch the video, see what happened.
I probably deleted like a bracket somewhere or something.
All right, cool. So this works for me.
Yeah.
Dusk, what does he say? He says get the currency and do something like price times currency. What would that give us? Oh yeah, that's super straightforward. That'll give you the dollar sign. Yeah. That's smart. That's really clever, actually. You can add that real quick if you want.
So it's going to be...
Oh, that works too. But that's only for US currency. He's suggesting using the currency key.
Uh-oh.
Also that,
it's just not a string.
Yeah.
I can just do... you can just do regular strings, right?
That's clever, though. I like that idea.
$4 signs, $3. Okay.
Nice.
What was he saying about, like...
He was saying grab the... from the API response to currency and use that. So if it's a, you know...
if it's like euros or something.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but like if you looked at the object that it returned, currency is always a US dollar sign anyways.
I think that's just because we are...
in searching for US restaurants.
So if we were searching for, you know, London restaurants, I'm sure we get back a euro.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. I mean, you don't have to make that now.
Okay.
That's a clever way to get it to repeat. That's smart.
Okay.
Also, I didn't know about character.repeat.
Well, it's string.repeat.
Is that new?
No, I don't know.
I think that might be newer. That's pretty cool.
But if I do like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder when repeat came. Unless it's been there for a while, I just don't know. But
Yeah.
that's nice. That worked well. Very much IQs all the way around.
Very much IQs. 200 IQ kappa.
Cool.
So,
are we getting the right pictures, actually? Oh, yeah, we are.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Dude, nice job.
Okay.
All right, so
there's changes I want to...
Yeah,
oh, yeah, so what if you want to make these buttons, like... So this would have to link to OpenTable for this restaurant, in theory, if it exists.
Right.
And then is there a website thing?
Yeah, we passed the URL.
Okay, we'll use that. Oh, we did pass it.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
so you can wire it up right now.
So, let me look at this. So, button, okay. So I can't use a button, I have to use like...
an anchor tag and style it. You can also you can just do an on click in there. So say on click equals.
I was gonna do something kind of jank, but I was gonna do this.
Should you put the anchor tag around the button or the anchor tag in the button? I don't know the right way to do that.
I was gonna do this.
Screen readers hate him.
I know this is bad, but let's do result, but shit. Hold on. We can call this result website, and then.
Oh, I just realized that my mouse has been chilling on that page.
Oh god. Result website.href URL. Sushi Denver. Okay, that worked. I feel like that's not ideal.
It's good for now. It works.
It works.
You got it working.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then Yeah. The problem with trying to make a reservation through open table is that we'd now have to use the second API.
Yep.
I don't want to deal with that right now.
No. I think we're going to wrap up here.
Yeah. Some other day.
Nice job, dude.
Okay.
All right, cool. So,
work in progress.
How you feel? You feel like you learned anything?
I feel real bad about this stuff.
Yeah, I know. We went real quick through that.
Yeah.
We can sit down and explain that later.
Mm-hmm. But then again, I'm not training to be a back-end engineer.
Yeah, but it's
I know,
still.
it's good to know.
But it's like it's straightforward. So once you understand that, you'll be able to replicate it. And so we got lucky with that. So what is there anything specific you don't understand in there, or is it
about
just
this
all?
part?
No, the back-end code.
Oh, yeah, mostly like.
Yeah, that's all. So
body parser.
That's all Express specific, though, right?
Yeah.
So I got to figure out why that wasn't working because what we had should have been working with the form data.
Get rid of this. So let me take a look at this again. No, I think the rest of it's okay.
Yeah, but it's all specific stuff to Express, right? So,
right.
But once you want, like I said, that's that micro framework. Once you understand this paradigm and like this like simple idea of like a router matching to a request and a path, you can do this in every single language. Yeah, that's cool. You can do this in every single language. It's with the same, like when you reach for the tool, it's the same.
Okay.
The same interface almost. So
okay.
Flask is very similar if you're using Flask for Python and
yeah, I think the rest of it's okay. Okay. I couldn't write it, but I can read it. So if that makes sense.
Dusk says I should show you a Sinatra version of that so it doesn't scare you away from back end. Sinatra is very straight. Have you seen Sinatra before? Ooh. So let's see. SinatraRB.com, I think. There you go. Yeah, so this is what Sinatra looks like. So get this, do, return this as a string, right? Okay. So it's Express is super popular and common, and once you understand it, it kind of just works everywhere. And Express has actually a really great website. And they have some great docs in here for everything, tons of stuff. So it's just like learning any API, right? So this API isn't strictly, a web API. API is an interface for something you're working with. So once you learn the API somewhere, you pick it up and run with it.
I mean, aren't classes kind of like APIs in a sense?
Yeah, you can design an API around your class. Perfect. Yeah, that's a good example. So, cool.
Right.
Why don't you go and commit that? And then we'll wrap up. So, thanks everyone who was hanging out with us. Thanks, Dusk. I don't know if Matt came back, but it's we just wanted to write some code and decided to do it on the internet. So
he decided to do it on the internet.
I'll post a link to this repo so y'all can grab it. Did you commit and push?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the link to the repo. Anyone have any questions before we sign off? Dusk, where in the world are you based?
I was about to ask if you know who he is. Guess not.
No, I don't know. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. So. Portuguese, living in the UK. Oh, that's awesome. Danny, do more streams. Yes, definitely want to get back into it. Used to do it a bit more, but this is a lot of fun. So we were gonna do this anyway, so we decided to just do it on the Twitches. So cool, gang. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. If you I have a YouTube channel too where this will get posted to. Let me link that real quick. I don't even know how to link a YouTube channel. let's see. Go to me. Nope. YouTube. There we go. Okay, so that's where this will wind up. There's a few old ones in there from like 4 years ago when I did a bunch of Node stuff. One of them is actually really cool. It's I think it's like tracking. I did some tracking code around Node and WebSockets and Express. Like if you want to track buses on a map, that was fun. So, but other than that, I hope everyone has a great weekend. And again, thanks for hanging out with us. This was a lot of fun. So let's do a little wave. Thanks, gang. Have a good one.